We this month are going to talk about offensive fouls. That's offensive fouls, that is. Block charge plays, player control, team control, all kind of mix and match, just to kind of get an idea of what's legal, what's not. So when we see it on the floor, we get it right. So let's start with this one. Can everybody see this video?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, great. Here we go. What do you guys think? Did you see it was right in front of the lead on the end line? I'm going to play it fast and then we'll break it down. Legal, good call, bad call, maybe no call. What do we think? It happened fast. And this is where we earn our money because a lot of these plays really take split decision. If you don't know, it's hard to really make a good call. There it is slow. What do we think?
It looked like the ball handler had no choice but to lower his shoulder to get where he wanted to go. And when I see that, I come in with a player control, so I agree with the call.
Does this player have a legal guarding position? The defender. What does it take to have a legal guarding position?
2 feet. 2 feet
Facing
facing
the opponent.
Yep, and I just want to make sure I clarify what it takes to have an initial legal guarding position. 2 feet on the floor facing his opponent. I see that here, do we not?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this player, this defender, is legal in their position. Do they need to give a moving player time and distance with the ball?
No.
So they literally just have to be there before the offensive player. So this player has a legal guarding position, this defender. They do move. The defender does move, but the defender is allowed to move, as most of us know. They can move in any direction that they wish as long as it is not toward their opponent. They can move laterally, obliquely, backward, but they can't just move toward, which this player then moves laterally slightly. And to Ken's point, that offensive player saw it coming and just embraced for the contact. Now that in itself doesn't make it a player control foul, right? But it sure is a telltale sign that makes our spidey senses go up saying, but we need to know if that player was in a legal guarding position or not, which I think he was. What do we think?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Now, again, going fast, it happens so fast. We need to know. And the official looks like the official was right on it.
Yep.
He initially uses his upper body to make room and then puts that forearm out to ensure he gets by with a shove.
Yeah. Good point.
All right. Let's go to the next video. Okay, official has a whistle on this. I can't see if they call block or charge. I think they called a block. What do we think?
No call.
No call. Me too. Pass.
Yeah, kind of a no call.
Is the defender legal?
Yes.
Yes.
Sure looks like it, right? Looks like there's some contact. But I would agree with you all that, and this isn't a no call meeting, but from last week, I don't think it's a block for one because it's a legal defender who is moving to maintain their position. Okay, they're allowed to move laterally again to try and continue to guard. But I also don't think this is really a player control foul because that offensive player does a really nice job of trying to get around the defender. Do we agree?
Mm-hmm.
Now he kind of reaches his arm out. Maybe it wasn't a block. Maybe it was a hit on the arm. I don't know. But I agree with you. This looks like a no call.
Play on.
It didn't really affect play. Yes, there was some contact. Now that we've watched that, do we all pretty much agree that that's a no call? That's nothing.
Yep.
All right. Now I want you to look at the score and the time and tell me if you would rule differently.
No, you need a game to be over.
4 minutes left. The green team, the visitors, are up by 30. And we're calling a block on the losing team on a play like that.
Ouch.
I think, and I know again, we say this every month, we shouldn't ref time and score, even though we all ref time and score. But this is one of those moments where a 30-point lead with 40 minutes to go. And my guess is it's been a 30-point game most of the game, right? One of those games where it's been decided since the first quarter. Do we really want to pour salt in the wound of the losers? Can we find ways around plays? And I think this is an excellent time where if it's possibly a foul, possibly not, I would go with possibly not. Yes? No?
Yeah.
Agreed. I do have a question though, Josh. Would you say the same if it was a clear player control or a clear block?
Yeah, that's a great point. We still need to officiate. So if it's a higher contact that is significant, we still need to call it, regardless of whether it's against or for, the winning or the losing team. We got to get significant contact, but I don't think this contact is significant.
No. If it, in my opinion, if it was like the last play you just showed and the score was where it is now, you still got to call that foul.
Agreed. Now, I wouldn't say I'm going to call player control on this one. This is an offensive foul because they're losing by 30.
No.
I'm not doing that either because it just doesn't reach to the level of anything worth blowing my whistle for. That's what I'm thinking.
What would you call if the losing team was on offense?
If the losing team was the green team, I probably would call this a block because, again, could be a foul, could not be a foul against a team who's down 30. Yeah, I'm going to give them a foul. Now, it's easy for me to say now, right? And sometimes it's harder to do when you're on the floor. But these are just the little things where, again, you're going to get your purist who's going to watch this on YouTube and say, you can't do that. Just call the fouls as they are. You're right. If you just call it the way it is, you're never going to get yourself into trouble, except you will, because you're going to have a coach who's getting drilled by 30 who's going to get really mad because it's like, why are you kicking us while we're down? Yes, they're not mad because you're right. They're mad because, like, have a little compassion. That's kind of what it is. We are the gatekeepers of the game, and we need to realize situations are different. All right. Anything else to share on that?
Keep the clock running.
All right, here's a good one. Okay, I'm going to play it fast again quick now that you know what you're looking at. What do you think? Good call? Wrong call? Should it have been a block? Or should it have been nothing? I'll play it slow.
Charge.
Oh,
George. That's not nothing.
What does the coach want?
He's
Flop.
calling a flop.
Of course the coach thinks that. But is this a possible flop? Is it a possible flop?
Yes. Yes.
I think he adds into
Yes.
the hit. I agree. But I think if you watch, as the red player comes in, he's moving, he's at the free throw line, he's moving toward the player. And it looks like he tries to pivot, but he keeps going into the player.
Leads with his shoulder. That's
Yeah.
what I always look for. Leads with his shoulder. Can't go anywhere unless he puts his shoulder into it.
Looks like the red player is about 2 feet from that white line. And after he hits the player, now he's on the white line. That's to and through, in my opinion. Now, again, I think the defender sold the contact, but it's not a foul to sell illegal contact. It's a foul to fake being fouled, to sell incidental contact. I don't think that was incidental. Anyone disagree?
No.
And that's a big kid. So if I'm the defending player, I'm going to try and have a little cushion because otherwise I'm going to get killed because that was a large player coming right at me. So even though the coach thinks it's a flop, I think they got the call right. Agreed?
Agreed.
Agree.
Yeah.
All right, here's a play. All right, well, let me just play it. All right, play happens in the paint. The whistle comes from the trail. My question is this a good reach by the trail? Because it's clearly in the leads area. What do we think?
Is that the trail or the center?
It's a trail.
That's the trail. I'll go to the full out. You see that there's two guys on that side? They must have just transitioned because that center is not even in the trail spot.
You probably just rotated.
That's
That's my take.
That's what I'm thinking. So we're going to give the center a pass because there was probably a rotation that just happened. But so my point though is, because the other two look good, is this something that the trail comes to get or let the lead take?
Let the lead take.
Clearly in the lead's primary. Lead has a good look at it. Trail should pause and let the lead take the call if he wants to take it.
Okay. I agree and disagree with something that you said. I don't think the lead has a great look at it. I think the lead is kind of stacked to this play. Now, that doesn't mean the lead can't see what happened because there's nobody in his way. It's all, by itself. But the trail really is looking between the players, is he not? The trail sees whether it's a to and through. Again, not that it would have been hard for the lead to get, but I think the best look is probably from the trail. However, what I do like that you said is I don't think the trail gave the opportunity to the lead. Maybe the lead was going to call it. Maybe that official has a slow whistle generally and takes them, a second before they blow their whistle. I don't know these things, but it seems as though, I'm going to play the audio again, that the trail gets it right away.
Yeah, she looks like a center.
I could be wrong. I might be a little bit late, but it almost seems like contact. Oh, I'm getting that. What do you guys think? Or do you think that is a cadence whistle?
He looked really surprised when he heard the whistle. I don't think he was going to call anything. I also don't see that he was really looking at the defender's feet. He watches the shot go up. I'm not sure he was really clued in to what he should have been.
The lead should be getting the secondary defender, or at least helping. Do we agree? Because the trail really is watching these two players dribble down into the lane. That's what the trail's watching the whole time. So the trail might have a hard time picking up that secondary defender or their legality.
I'm saying I don't think the lead was really trying to judge the legality of his defender. It didn't look like he was really focused on that, but it's hard to tell from here.
Okay, now that we've talked about that, the trail counted it and won. Block. Do we think that's a block or is that a charge?
That's a charge.
Agreed.
In the NFHS, this is a player control foul. In college, and not that this is a college play, but I like to point this difference out because it's a big difference between the college level and the high school level. In college, this is a block all the way.
Yeah, because his foot's down.
He needs to be there before his last foot is down before he goes up.
Yeah, that's
but that's not the rule in high school. In high school, you need to be there before the player goes airborne. Do we agree that player is legally guarding at this point?
Yes.
All day.
Yeah.
And then he goes up and he just lands on top of him. That is a player control foul. And you're going to get yelled at for it because everybody watches college and NBA and thinks that that's a block, but in high school it is not.
Yeah, that's bang bang. I think it all depends on the flow of the game, but yeah, definitely a charge.
All right.
I think that's the leads call all the way. And like Ken was saying, hey, you come in with that if on a cadence whistle, if the lead doesn't take it. That's his call. It's stay in your primary. That's my opinion.
I agree, but Tim, this is more than significant contact. This is a train wreck. This has to be called. I don't care who calls it. It's the lead. And then as soon as you know the lead's not going to call it, I'm calling it.
I agree. I'm saying the lead.
Okay.
Lead needs to make that call. It's right in front of him.
This is one of those plays. You get told to stay in your primary, stay in your primary. Don't reach, don't reach. This is one of those calls where you need to reach if your partner doesn't get it. You have to get this play. And if you call a block, fine. But call something and say, I'm not going to let this game just be a bunch of players running into each other. Agreed?
Agreed.
Josh, isn't there wording in the book where the defender has to be in a legal guarding position before the shooter begins his attempt for the try?
In the college rule, he needs to be there before that plant foot, before he goes up, before that plant foot hits. In high school, he needs to be there before the player goes airborne.
Thank you.
Two very different stipulations.
Nice.
So before he goes airborne?
Before he goes airborne. So
he could be in the gather and the defender can be late and get there?
Well, that's not late. He's there first.
Yeah, right.
Okay. This is not a continuation play. This is not about the act of shooting. This is about who was there first and legally guarding.
Ooh, yeah, Ooh.
All right. Now, again, bang. I don't remember. I think it was you, Frank. Someone said bang, bang. It is a bang, bang. And again, make a decision. I can break the film down and show you that you're wrong, but that doesn't really matter at that time. At that time, whistle, strong signal, strong sell, and go with it.
Yeah, that's a great clip regardless. Thank you.
Here's another clip that's similar. Okay, other way, but really is same play. Do we agree? What's the one difference on this play? What's the big difference on this play compared to the last play?
It comes from the C.
Well, it's straight on. The other guy.
The lead is still running.
Lead
Did
never
you-
got there.
Did you hear the cadence of the whistle? When did the whistle come? Foul. Lead's going to get it. Lead's not going to get it. I'm getting it. There's a good second delay there. Do you not agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
That center, I guarantee you, said to himself, Lead's got this. Lead doesn't got this. I got to get this. And then gets it.
That's a good call.
And a center calls a block, so be it. It's a block, but a whistle has got to be blown on a play like this. Do we agree?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Now, was it a block or was it a charge?
Good call.
Player control foul. Feet were planted.
This is nitpicky, but do you notice the defender makes sure to get that right leg out there pretty far? I do think I would do a player control, but watch his
No, his
leg
knees out. Yeah, his
sticks
knees
it out.
You mean his right leg?
Yeah.
Yes,
I see that, but where does the contact happen, Jill?
in the
Torso.
center.
So those legs really are irrelevant.
True.
If the dribbler tries to go around and gets tripped up on the leg, that's a block because that leg is not legal. But since the contact happens right dead center in the chest, that's a player control foul.
100% agree.
Good pickup.
When I see that, I think, oh, that feels deliberate at times.
Maybe that kid's not a very good player.
There we go. Maybe it wasn't even that thought out. Maybe.
When I first saw this, I went charge right away without slowing it down. I said I'd go charge on that, but that's
Yeah, of course.
what I went. I mean, there's a lot to this. There's another close one.
Not that close.
Look at it in slow mo. Look how
This game had a lot of those.
Yeah, and I would be careful with a double whistle here too. I mean,
Well, that's why, again, in block charge plays like this, it's terribly important to have a cadence whistle because if you do have a double whistle, a lot of times in plays like this, as an official, you're excited. I mean, I know they're hard plays to call, but they're fun, aren't they? And so you get one up, boom, block, 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 or boom, it's a player control, right? So you got two officials that are amped up and they're going to get that call. And that's why blarges happen because two guys that aren't thinking and they're just emotional about the call. So if you can really make yourself say, not my call, he's not getting it, boom, I'm going to get it. It'll help your game and the game overall to be better.
Yesterday in the second half went down 10, so the same situation here. Pettigrew goes up and draws the foul.
Okay, got a block. I know it's not the best angle or view from the camera. Happened in the paint.
Yesterday in the second half went down 10, so the same situation here. Pettigrew goes up and draws the foul.
What do you think? Just fast, Frank, since you're so good at it fast.
I was like, I'm gonna make a call right away. I
Charge.
Yeah.
You player control. I got
block right away. Off
okay,
the top,
we got one block. We got one player control.
Josh, play it again.
Player
Fast.
control.
Watch. I don't
Player
want to sit
control.
this one
Fast
out.
as
I
Yesterday
wanna
in the
hear
second
everyone
half
else.
went down 10.
That's a charge.
Yeah.
Charge.
He moved him sideways. Yep.
So let's go. We got the defender, secondary defender. The lead makes the call. And in my opinion, that is the correct official to make this call.
Center's stacked up.
Center maybe could help. just because he's got a good look at it, but the lead's focused on that secondary defender. I can't see how wide those legs are spread.
They're not.
You can't see
they're
that.
not
I know you say
exaggerated.
that, but you can't. We really can't see. It might be just outside of his frame of his body. And if that's the case, where does the contact happen?
Right at the chest, right at the torso.
He's tripping on that leg.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
So that could be a block just based on that leg being outside the frame of the body. Now, I agree, Tim. It doesn't look like it's that far out.
It doesn't.
Okay, so if it's not, let's assume that leg is legal. Does he have a legal guarding position?
Yes, I think so.
2 feet on the floor facing his opponent, and he's trying to stand to get there. Now the other thing we can't see, I know you can move laterally, legally. However, if this offensive player tries to go around,
he is trying to go around,
and then he juts into him. Really, he's moving. At this point, they're about lateral with each other. If he continues to move into his space, he's moving toward his opponent, is he not? I can't tell if he's moving sideways. I'm just giving you all the scenarios that we can't see. So it's possible this could be a block. From our angle watching this, I have charge. I have a player control, but I can very, very much see a possibility of it being a block.
But it looks like his offensive player's left leg went right into his knee and turned him sideways.
And if that knee was legal initially and then he gets hit and then it puts into an illegal position, if he gets hit and makes it extend further, that's not on the defender. That's then on the offensive player. So this one for me is 50-50.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah.
Do you think that him taking a step to the right before the contact plays anything into whether it would be a block or a charge? Like, as the shooter's coming, you see him pick his foot up and place his leg out wider.
Okay, so let's just back up just slightly. Right here, is he legally guarding?
Yes.
Does he have initial legal guarding position?
Yeah.
Yes, he does. Right? Because there's no minimum or maximum distance. So he clearly is trying to guard this player coming down the lane. And he's legal, I think. So yes, then he starts to slide because he's like, I got to move into that space. He's trying to go around me. Is he allowed to move laterally?
Yes. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yes, he is. So that step really is irrelevant.
Okay.
Okay, but if he continues, as I said, where he's almost beat at this point, if he continues to slide, he's now moving toward his opponent because he's ensuring that he makes contact. So the contact is coming from the defender and not from the offense. So again, from this angle, very hard to tell what actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, what do you got on that?
Well, from this angle, I've got a charge. But when I slow it down, I could see that he could have possibly been making sure that contact happened. And I think the lead probably had a pretty good look. He's off a little bit to the side, but he had probably a pretty good look to see if he was moving toward that opponent or not. So I'm going to trust that the official on this got it right.
But his hand went up instantaneously. It wasn't even, he didn't even take a second. It looked like he took a second to process it.
No, he was confident and he signaled, and that's what he's got.
That's what he's got.
And again, a lot of these plays, regardless of whether they got it right or wrong, is less important to me. Obviously, we want to get it right. But what's more important is that the official makes a decision, is confident in their decision, and especially when they take it to the table and have to explain to a coach who probably is going to ask them about it, is confident in their the decision that they made and tell them, this is what I saw. Yes, it looked like he ran into him, but he actually then slid into him and caused the contact. Otherwise, the dribbler would have missed him or whatever it may be. So, confidence. All comes down to confidence.
Absolutely. Great call.
I agree.
Look at the kid and the coach are like, what? Are you kidding me?
No.
Oh, yeah, all day.
That's player
Absolutely.
control all day.
Player control.
What does he do?
He dips his shoulder.
He literally dips his shoulder and shoves him.
That's right. Then he extends his arm too.
Forearm shiver.
You cannot extend your arm into another player, into an opponent. That is his space. His defender is legal.
Right.
He's simply running alongside. He's not moving toward him. He's allowed to run and continue with his opponent. And as soon as that offensive player causes contact here, I'm still calling nothing if there's contact. But as soon as he extends that arm, that's a player control.
Yeah, he makes it easy for the
He made it easy, even though he's like, what? Do you see him? Oh, I love it. Coaches and kids, they just don't get it sometimes.
No, they get it. They want it their way.
Hey, no call. Did we see what happened?
Yeah, he tripped him. Took his right leg right out.
I say tripped him with his leg.
Oh, jeez.
Is this a whistle or no?
Absolutely a whistle.
Josh, play it one more time, please.
Didn't look intentional.
Yeah, it didn't.
Yeah, he looked right at him.
Yeah.
He turned his head. He came right at him.
Because this is a player with the ball, are they allowed to move into a moving player?
No.
If they do move in toward a moving player, what do they have to do? They have to give them time or distance to avoid contact. Just because they're dribbling the ball does not give them the liberty to do whatever they want. Yes, as a defender, you need to be careful where you're going, but it looks as though this player is trying to run by this player. He's not running right at him, right? It looks like he's even trying to go around him. And that dribbler deliberately sets a screen into a moving player and ultimately trips him. I don't think the trip was intentional. I think the contact caused with him was. By rule,
that initial body shove was probably I would probably call that. Right as soon as he shoves into him, I would call that on blue.
Josh, what do you think the player thought would happen when he stuck his leg out to an oncoming player trying to go by? I agree with the first part of your assessment, but that is clearly intended to trip him. I mean,
well,
why else would you lift your leg low enough to hit his legs? I mean, he looked right at him. There's his eyes right there.
So I might be a bit naive of a person. That's not the right word I want to use, but you'll understand after I make the statement.
No, I'm just a mean lawyer.
I think this kid planted his foot to pivot and is now getting a stance to hold his position because he sees a player coming at him. So I don't think he's sticking his leg out to trip. I think he's trying to plant his foot down. Yes, he's trying to cause contact. You could be right. Maybe he is trying to trip him. But he's throwing that hip out, and while he's throwing that hip out as he's stepping, he's just stepping to put his foot down.
Does that mean then it could be construed as incidental contact?
It could be, and that's what these officials obviously ruled it as incidental. Here's another part, and this is a real thing. They're 3 minutes into the first quarter of this game. They're probably still trying to establish some kind of a flow. If they pass on that, what is the effect of the game? Probably not a ton. So I can understand maybe why they said, oh, the kid's running through. Yes, maybe he didn't do it on purpose. And it happens fast. all of these tend to really happen fast, but watching this clip alone, again, I think the kid saw him coming and said, I'm going to throw my body in the way. And hopefully I think he was hoping to get a foul.
Yeah, that's
because the defender ran into me. You can't run into me, but if I'm a player that is moving and I'm not trying to move toward my opponent, you move in my way, that's a foul on you.
You know, the point guards are pretty smart.
They are very smart.
I know. So the way I see that is what you're saying. That point guard tried to draw a foul. He's trying to get a foul on that kid. And these guys passed on it, or, you know.
I will say this. By rule, this is an offensive. This is a player control foul by rule. But again, I understand why they didn't blow their whistle, and at the very least, they didn't call a block or a push or something on the defender, because I don't think he was at fault here. Agreed or no?
Agreed.
All right. That is a lot harder of a play to get because, to your point, Tim, point guards, a lot of them, they're generally the smart one, right? They're the one running the offense. They have the brains. They know what they're doing. And I think lots of times we give them that foul, and so they know they're going to get a foul so that they go for it. All right. Let's watch this one. We have anything on this?
He had an arm up, but he displaced himself. The other kids are much bigger than him. He didn't really do anything to defend her.
So we're okay with a no call here?
Yeah, it seems like both sides doing that.
Yeah.
Play on.
You guys are good. I agree. This is a bunch of chicken fighting. In fact, the offensive player throws his arm out there. He initiates all the contact and then tries to make it look like he's getting fouled. I mean, again, technically, by rule, that's an offensive foul. Because you're not allowed to extend your arm and hinder your opponent from attacking the ball. He's not allowed to do that. He's warding this player off. I don't suggest you calling this as a foul, but it's definitely not a foul on the defender.
And the center may be stacked out. I mean, he may not even be able to see that.
That's a great point. It's a transition play. But that also, to me, says in transition plays, I feel as though officials take breaks. And not like good, let's just run to the other end. But kind of, we go from one side to the other side because most of the action happens when you're in the front court of a team, right? But lots of stuff happens on these transitions, especially when there's a press. We have to always be watching and making sure we know what happened. You're right. I don't think the center really, it didn't even register in his brain that anything really happened.
He's looking at it.
I mean, maybe it did.
Hey, he's just taking a pass, I think.
But I agree with him. If he did see it and he passed on it, that this is nothing.
Yeah, it's right in front of him.
It could be. Now, again, depending on the context of the game, right? It could be something. But generally speaking, I think that's nothing.
Just the point guard again trying to draw a foul.
Yeah, engaging his defender, and the defender. Now, I'm not going to say the defender's not at fault here either, because the defender engages right back. But but if you're coming at me, why can't I come at you? That's kind of the way I look at it. Nobody did anything extraordinary or extra above what they were trying to do. It's just a bunch of chicken fighting. All right.
Josh, go back to the beginning of this video for a second, please, and I'll nitpick a little bit. That photographer needs to be moved to one side of the lane line or the other.
Maybe, but he's pretty far back.
He's a few feet back.
He's pretty far back. I don't know what the rule says as far as depth-wise. I don't know if the depth is even part of the equation, but I think technically by rule, they're supposed to be on one side or the other of the lane.
Correct.
I have had, and I don't know what the conversation was, I've had photographers come up to me in a game and saying, hey, I'm going to take pictures. Is there a place that you want me to be or not be? And And so, excuse me, maybe these officials said, yeah, you're fine back there. Don't come any closer than that, but you'll be okay there. Or if you want to sit there, it's not going to bother me, but you might have a player that comes that way on a hard play, so be ready. But I think you're right, Ken. I think by rule, they really aren't supposed to be there at all.
You are correct.
But if you're going to address that, address it at the right time, because I do have a video where we addressed a photographer or a player, or not player, a photographer or someone who was, not supposed to be there. And it was really at the wrong time. They stopped play. They, play was moving, then they went over and they addressed it. Wait until a timeout, wait until a long dead ball, wait until something where it's not interfering with the flow of the game. Unless you think it's going to be hazardous to the players or to yourself, take care of it at an appropriate time. Easier said than done, I know sometimes, but here we go. Did you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Coach clearly wanted something. Do you remember that last play where the dribbler came in and shoved his defender out of the way?
Mm-hmm.
Same game, same kid. And I say that because I'm giving you context that this player was involved in lots of plays. This particular player. So what does that generally tell you?
He's a troublemaker.
He could be a troublemaker. So let's see what actually happened. Playing fast, what do you guys have? Anything? Nothing?
Looked like he slipped.
Nothing.
Incidental. So you're passing just like all the officials.
Yeah.
No.
Illegal screen?
Definitely possible, Jill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Possible. I'm glad you said that because, yes, possibly an illegal screen.
That 34 and the 3, their arms are interlocked. The right arm of 3 and the left arm of 24 are interlocked. I assume that's what you were circling, Josh.
Yeah, let's not get to that just quite yet. I know I forgot I had that circle there. Possible illegal screen. However, what is 3 doing right now?
Impeding 34 from...
I mean, 3 is on 34 like glue.
Yeah, that's, yep.
I was dying to hear what you were going to say.
Yeah, I had a lot of
Like
couple
glue
phrases,
is
but I'm just going to just stick with something safe.
Like a hold right there, maybe.
He could be holding him. He could be impeding him. I'm not sure what he's doing. And if you're going to say that's an illegal screen, I'm going to say, I don't know. It looks like 3's really trying to stay with his player. And that 24 does a great job of literally going right around that screen. Do we agree? Leaving very little space for 3 to go around. Now, that doesn't mean it's not illegal, but it's not, that screen's not egregious. Do we agree?
Agree.
Agreed.
Okay, and then as you zoom in, you see these arms here? Who's holding who? The white player is holding the blue player.
I was to say the troublemaker is.
Yeah.
Okay, now I will say this. The blue player shouldn't have his hand there. So shame on him.
Well,
but
he's
the
trying
white
to get he's trying to get his shoulders through the screen. So
Yep, he's just trying to stay with this player. I get that.
Right.
So he shouldn't be having his hand over there. But that doesn't give the white player the right to hold him. And the reason they fall down, like he does, is because he was holding his arm there to make it look like he got fouled. Troublemaker. Okay, now, just because he's a troublemaker, and now he's on your radar, and he was on our radar that night, okay? None of the officials were falling for these antics, so good for this crew. But this player is a very, very smart player. He knows how to do things and when to do things that a lot of officials are going to miss, and they're only going to see what happens after, and they're going to give him a call. Just because you're smart doesn't mean you're doing the right thing, but you're smart to try and do it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I still watch this, and I got nothing. The screen's not egregious, and the reason the scuffle happened is because the offense was trying to make it happen. I got nothing.
Play on.
Agreed or no?
I was to say, I feel like if anything, if you called anything, it would definitely have to be on probably that player that's holding the blue right there. That if he's been on your radar and he's already causing trouble, he's just gonna keep doing it.
Third quarter, 2.5 to go, tied ball game. Hard to say.
Fouls are 4-3.
I'm just being honest. Those are games where you want to blow your whistle as little as possible and affect that game. And whether it's right or wrong, maybe we aren't supposed to, be affected. But I know I'm mentally in a close competitive game. It's harder for me to come up with a foul on something like that because I feel like it interrupts the game. I don't have a 100% decision on what happened one way or the other, then I'm going nothing. That's me. I'd rather a coach yell at me that I missed something than yell at me for calling something that wasn't right when I get it wrong. All right. The official calls an offensive foul, but was it? What did you guys see?
Didn't look like it.
If this is the NBA where this happens all the time, they got no whistle. But this is not the NBA.
Yeah.
This is what these kids see this. They make a move and say, I'm going to push you just a little bit to get out of my way. Yeah. And now I have a clear path to the basket.
So if he pushed him just a little bit, Josh, the defender looked like he was really laid out and pushed off to the side. I'd say the reaction to the contact was greater than the strength of the contact.
He's pushing him right there on the shoulder.
Okay, but let's say this. As a defender, as you start moving with your opponent here, because he's going this way and you want to make sure you stay with him and stay legal, your whole momentum has shifted one way. You're now not even on one foot. You're barely on one foot. A little shove can make a dramatic.
Yeah, I completely agree with that too. Yes.
Yeah, that's a foul.
And I don't think this kid is overselling or faking getting pushed so much. I think his momentum just made him. That's a huge advantage.
Yeah.
And this is something that happens a lot in high school basketball, and it gets missed a lot. This official did not miss it, and I thought the correct call was made. The sad fact of the game that we have today is these kids pick up moves from higher levels. Whether it's legal or not at higher levels, I cannot say, but it's not legal at the high school level, and they try to implement it, and maybe part of the problem is they get away with it half the time or more than half. So we have to do a better job of making sure we see that and get it. All right, I bet you nobody saw that because it was an off-ball call. All right. Look down by the post. Something you guys are calling or no?
Oh,
Absolutely.
he cleared out.
And he extended his arm.
Now, I'm going to say a couple different things here. Yes, you're absolutely right. He cleared out, but then his defender recovered quite easily right back into the spot. That doesn't make the action any less illegal, but is it something we can pass on? He might have even, I know the white player stopped playing because of the whistle, but he might have even got that pass and stole it. What do you think?
Let him play.
Hold your whistle.
Possibly something we can pass on?
Yeah.
Maybe use our voice? Okay, now are you ready for the context? Look at the score and the quarter. Now, it's not a great disparity, I will say that.
No, that's nothing.
But this game was over basically when the ball was tipped. This team is so bad. And the score doesn't show how bad they were, but they're so bad. So this call, because I'm the one who made it and I remember, was kill them with kindness call. And it's illegal. It's not that it's not a foul. They're not making it up. It's a foul. In a regular game, I'm probably letting it happen and using my voice. Hey, knock it off. Or something to that effect. And if it doesn't work, then come in and get a foul. Okay? Now, again, I know people don't like it, but sometimes as officials, you have to understand the spirit of the rule. What are the spirit of the rule? So one team doesn't gain advantage over the other, right? Or create a disadvantage. And if a team is just getting smeared, you know what? Sometimes calling a little foul like that, it just helps keep the game on track. In fact, this game, I don't have it queued up and ready to play. There was a situation where something happened and they called a timeout. And one of the officials had to come running in across the court because they saw one of the kids who was on the losing team getting drilled he was gonna punch somebody. He could just see it. It was rising, and he got over there and he kept it from happening. But that's how little calls like that can really help keep the peace, if that makes sense. Do we understand that? Let's do one more. No whistle on the play. Did you see it? It was the dribbler. Did you see what happened?
Dipped his shoulder. Saw that.
He did more than dip his shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
I get one photo.
But he's stacked out. The lead is stacked out. Can't see that.
Is the defender legal? 24.
You can't sell. I don't know. You can't tell really.
Okay. When does contact happen?
Right there.
Right there.
Right there?
Looks like he's got 2 feet on the ground.
So if the officials think that this contact isn't worth calling, and they didn't blow a whistle, so they that's what they thought, that this isn't worth calling, are we allowing this shove with the arm?
Yeah.
No, that's definitely player control.
We cannot allow players to shove other players out of the way to give them a clear shot to the basket. That has got to be a whistle. If you think that player is not legally guarding, then call a block. If you think they were legally guarding, then call player control. But it's got to be a whistle. This stuff escalates to higher contact.
Yeah, that's you got to have a whistle. I agree.
In my opinion, now you're right. Let's see if we go back. Maybe we can see. Hard to tell if he has initial legal guarding position. This might be good enough, but it's close enough where it could be 50-50. But he's definitely facing his opponent here. If you don't think he's got 2 feet down, okay, that's up for argument. But as soon as he shoves him with his forearm, to me, you might have got the foul, but you shoved him. Now you're getting a player control.
Right.
Shame on you for doing that.
That's
and he got away with it.
do you think that C's call initially? That C's play?
Well, let's talk about this because right now, whose area is it in?
Right now, it's in trails.
I think it's center.
All right, it's close. It's on the line.
It's definitely close, but you see the circle around the L. I know it's broken up, but it looks like he's on the outside of that circle.
Okay, then it's C.
Okay, and then he dribbles inward. Now it's whose?
Trail.
Definitely trails now. Back over here. Now whose is it?
C.
C again. Coming down the lane.
Yep.
C should have this all the way.
Yep.
He actually has a pretty good look at it.
He just passed.
If the trail were to engage a little bit more and come down to the 3-point line extended, the trail would probably have the best look at it. Right? Looking through those players there. I think the trail right now is stacked. And I think the lead is pretty stacked. So, I mean, first crack has got to go to center.
That's his primary too.
And then if trail's in down and better position, then the trail can come and give a cadence whistle maybe. And if the lead sees the shove where he's at, he can come and get this. Anybody can get this.
Somebody should get it.
I just don't think we can allow a shove like this. Do you all agree, or you think this is just regular big boy basketball?
I agree. Should not be allowed.
Need a whistle. Need a whistle on that play.
Yep.
Did the kids sell the contact? Sure, he starfished on the ground, right? But he still got shoved out of the way. Someone had a question?
Yeah, Josh, by rule, if you felt that the defender did not have legal guarding, would that shove trump the fact that you felt he didn't, and would you call it offensive anyway? Because of the how it's escalated with him with the shove with the arm?
Okay, so it's a great question because it's almost like an order of sequence. Because if there is a fouler because he doesn't have a legal guarding position, then it should be called here when the contact initially happens, right?
Right.
And then if you're saying, well, that's not enough for me to call, and we do it all the time, right? We have to determine what's significant, what's not, incidental. As soon as he shoves, now all of a sudden the illegal action is on blue.
Right.
So you could very well have a foul right after that and go, boop, block. And well, are you kidding me? He shoved him. Yes, coach. But he initially came in illegally toward his opponent. He caused contact, and then the kid shoved him after, which we now have to rule as incidental unless we think it's intentional or flagrant.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to be that long-winded with the coach, but for you all, so it could look like oh my gosh, how could you call a block on that? But if you're going to rule this to be illegal and that's going to be the contact, and you could say, I'm passing on that initial contact, and then see the kid shove him out of the way and say, oh, he shoved him because that initial contact was illegal. And the kid's like, get off of me. Then you can go back in your mind and say, boop, no, we're going to get that initial contact. I'm okay with that. That doesn't give the kid the right to shove, but knowing that the reason something happened is because of something else. This illegal happened, and then this illegal happened because of this illegal. We need to get the first illegal. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Should I show a bonus video?
Yeah.
Tim is always up for a bonus video.
Yeah, why not?
Bonus videos rule.
All right. Ready? I'm going to play that again real quick. It was at 3:08, just to give you the context of the time in a second. Okay, and then on the other end, 30 seconds later almost. Now, I know as officials, everybody sees similar plays and they say those are the same plays. And we know as officials, every play is not the same. There's always situations, right, that come into play. But would you agree both of those plays looked similar?
Yes.
Similar.
Yes.
This was a play, kid looks like an illegal guarding position, getting hit, and then a block was called.
Okay.
And then we go down here, same kid setting, getting hit. This one, he lands on him, but similar. Yes?
Yes.
And so a block is called. This
I was about to say they're similar, but I think they're both offensive.
Yeah.
I don't disagree.
Hey, yeah, that.
However, it would behoove you as a crew if you saw one, and I'm talking 30 seconds, 45 to a minute, that close in time, maybe sometimes a little bit more, but to come up with a similar ruling. You could say that was a charge down there. This one is a charge down here. Well, if he called a block and it's close enough to what happened, call a block, because everybody remembers the last one was a block. Right? So well, then this one should be a block because they're similar plays because we were all on the same page. If it happens 3 minutes later or the second quarter and the fourth quarter, you got to rule on it, right? And I'm not telling you don't rule on something and change your call if you don't think that's what it is. I'm not saying that off. If you thought that the first one was a block and the second one's a charge, then call it, right? But if you can be as consistent as you can on plays like that, you're gonna help your crew get along. I know we're not there to get along, but with the coaches and the players, and the game will be managed better. Does that make sense?
On that second play, Josh, was the defender legal before the offensive player left the ground?
Yeah.
Or was he still moving? I couldn't tell. But it looked it, but it was too quick to. On the replay, it looked like he might have been moving and then was legal when the offensive player was already in the air.
On the replay, let's look at the replay.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't have a replay. I slowed it down myself. Okay. Let's see. It's close.
Because he seems to move his feet and then plant
He's
two
he's legal.
in the air.
Does he have 2 feet on the floor right now?
Yep.
Is he facing his opponent?
Yep.
Is that shooter airborne?
No.
Okay.
He's legal. In high school, he is legal. I think that's a charge.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. It's really close. In college, this is a block all day.
No, yeah.
And I know, again, this is not college. I don't like to talk about college, but in block charge plays like this, I think we need to know the difference, because a lot of guys are going to call block because that's what they see and they mimic what they, NCAA officials, NBA officials, they're the best of the best. We should follow them. No, the rule is different.
Josh, I don't remember, but is the reason for the consistency because it's the same calling official?
No, even if it's a different calling official, I just think.
I get your point. As a crew, we should be consistent.
This is what drives coaches crazy. This is why coaches get upset about things, because they see it. And we're not calling it so everyone else can understand. We have to call it to the rules. I get that. But similar plays we need to be aware of, because when a coach sees this play and that play and they think it's the same and we have two different rulings, they can't understand the difference. And sometimes we can't go to them and explain to them the difference. Same game. This happened a little bit earlier. Same game, another consistency call that I want to show. And then I know it's like a double bonus clip. Okay, we had, I'm fast forwarding through everything. This one it looked like a late whistle, but foul on the shooter. Okay. And I clipped this one a little bit differently. And you see the very next play down after the free throws, the very next play as we're ending the first quarter. No whistle. The whistle on this play is on something else. It's not on the shooter, so you got to ignore that whistle. Nothing on the shooter. No whistle on the shooter. Would we say that those are similar plays?
Definitely.
Yep.
Yes.
So we need to have a whistle on that second play.
Agreed.
You want to see the foul that he called? Do you see 12 white under the basket?
Mm-hmm.
Watch that play. Did you see what he did?
Yeah, he pulled him down.
He pulled him down on the box out.
Pulled him down.
He said, "You're not getting that rebound. Get out of my way." So the whistle was a good whistle, but we should have had a whistle on this shot right here. That is a closeout foul, my friends.
Yeah, he went from, like they say, A to B, and he knocked into him. That's a
He
foul.
landed fine and then got bumped off of his spot. So he didn't get to land fine.
No, that's a foul.
That's a foul.
And
That's got to come from trail.
It looks like the trail and the center are both looking at the basket.
The center is watching all that gobbledygook in the middle.
Yeah.
The trail, I don't know what the trail's watching, if he's watching the ball going up or watching the rebounders in the middle. I don't know, but the trail's job is to stay with the shooter up, down. Are they safe? Okay, now I can stop watching that. We've got 3 people on this game. We have to always have one official watching the ball and the matchup. Always. All right? Now, that's a foul regardless, but if we call this a foul over here, and there's less contact here, but that's still a foul, I agree.
That's a foul.
Then we got to call the other one a foul. Yeah.
Good points. Yeah. Those are inconsistently called.
Consistently, inconsistently called.
I'm sure the coach saw the second one.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. All right. Well, that's our offensive clips of the night. Pretty good ones, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. That was really good. Good one, Josh.
Yeah,
good way to finish off the
season. So our meeting season, this is the last month, which means next month we are not meeting because it's camp season. Okay? And then the next meeting starts back up in July 17, third Thursday of the month. We're going to go back to more rule-oriented videos. We're going to talk about the rule and how it's applied properly. I hope you all come back next year and recruit somebody. Bring someone with you, someone new, someone old. I like new people because there's a lot to teach, but I also like veterans because there's lots to give back. I truly enjoy doing this. I enjoy that others enjoy doing this. So if you could spread the word, bring on some more new people, that would be awesome. Thanks for being a member.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh. Good job.
Yep.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it.
All right.
All right.
And enjoy your summer.